Hey guys, what's going on? So this is my next video. So what I want to talk about now is from my day one of alcoholism, which was the 17th of October 2016. My starting weight was 19 stone 9, which in other money it was £279. So this video is just about months 1 to 6. And I'll try and break it down. So obviously, as I said, my weight loss and getting it off was just as important. I can't stress enough. It was equally as important as me getting sober. It's funny with alcoholism because a lot of people, when this early days of quitting drinking, some people put weight on with it because you do kind of, you get sugar cravings and you do tend to compensate for staying sober by eating more and generally eating sugary stuff. So I was well aware of this, and I wanted to make sure that wasn't going to happen to me, or at least try so it wasn't as bad. And I've also seen a lot of people who lose a lot of weight early doors, and then you don't hear from them again. It's so similar to the alcoholic brain, with the food. You see, you watch someone and they might get to 30, 40, 50 days sober, and they'll just be banging all these pictures in of the facial changes, losing face, getting thinner or what have you, and then it'll just stop, and then you'll see that person again, maybe 6 months later, and they'll confess, oh, I relapsed, I drank again, and all the weight's back on and more, and it's like, God. So I was really, I knew all this, so I wanted to be I really wanted to make sure that wasn't going to happen to me. So the stats, so in months 1 to 6, I actually lost 37 pounds, which is a really good amount of weight. So that was from 19 stone 9 down to 17 stone, which on the surface sounds awesome, but when you look back at it, I had many problems with it. The first thing I need to put out there, I think it's important, although I knew starting out that sort of extreme diets and what have you wasn't the way to go, I didn't really care. I just wanted to get as much weight off and as quickly as I could. So pretty much the first 6 months was extreme dieting. Now what I mean by that was I just cut my calories, and I probably should have been consuming, to do it properly, I probably should have been consuming probably 2,100 calories. But the broken thinking again, I started knocking that down, and some days I'd be as low as 1,200 calories. It's not enough. It's really not enough. But anyway, I didn't care. The first 6 months was all about me getting as much weight off as I could. And looking back, it wasn't a bad thing. It wasn't a bad thing. How I did this was obviously the calorie reduction, and extreme exercise on top of it. Now, obviously, because I'd stopped drinking, I had the added bonus of no empty calories going in through the Coca-Cola with the whiskey. I don't drink fizzy pop. The only time I drunk it was to drink alcohol. So it's something I never missed. So it gives you a great start for weight loss. I mean, probably if I'd have kept my calories up to whatever they were, 2,500 or whatever, I'd have probably still lost weight even without exercising, just because of those no more empty calories. But anyway, I trained really hard, and I did hiking, cycling, circuit training, long walks. I get quite bored with exercise. I love exercise, and I really love pushing myself. I always challenge myself, and I still do that to today because I like that, because I get the best results from that. But I do find that I cycle my exercises because I kind of fall out with them. One day I'll be all about hiking, and I'll do that for a month or two, and then I'll just fall out with it for no reason, and then I'll start mountain biking or whatever. and then I'll fall out with that, and I'll, whatever. I keep doing it, but that doesn't really bother me, because as long as you keep, doing something, that's all you can do. So within that 6 months, it wasn't a progressive downhill of weight loss. I think that's really important to say. It was very up and down. Another problem with weight loss is you become a slave to the scales, which is not a good thing. And I've kind of always had that problem, the only way to weigh yourself and get sort of a true weight is just to only weigh yourself once a week at the same time. Ideally, you jump out of bed on a Friday morning, you have a wee, and you go jump on scales naked. You do that every week, and that's pretty much your genuine weight. Obviously, if you jump on the scales daily, like I've done, and obviously at different times of the day, it's all over. Bloody water retention in your body. Your weight can someone my size, your weight can fluctuate by 6 to 8 pounds in a week. So the point is, it gets so disheartening because you're not doing it correctly, as in the weighing. So you're just setting yourself up for a fall, because you might weigh in you might be lost a couple of pounds from the week before, but then you weigh yourself midweek because your brain's saying jump on scales, see where you're at, and you might be 4 pounds heavier. And that just has an adverse effect, and you go on a bit of a downer. And for me, the problem was I would eat less, which is the worst thing you can do. And if you were only consuming 1,200 calories, and then you might have days where it's only 600, 700, no good at all. So yeah, being a slave to the scales is a problem I've had in the past. Not nearly as bad now, but I still have that issue. So as I say, the weight fluctuated a lot. So most weeks, you'd knock 2, 3, even 4 pounds off. Some weeks, I think I lost as much as 6 pounds. But I had bad weeks as well because my eating wasn't right. I just didn't eat the right things, and I didn't eat at the right times, and I never had a knowledge of nutrition. And I never wanted to learn. That was a problem. I knew there was good fats, bad fats, carbs, proteins, and I knew you had to balance it, but it just didn't interest me. I kind of thought if I bought a healthy Weight Watchers meal from the supermarket, that was doing it all for me. I'm looking at the calories, and it just, it's only 600 calories, but it's all that processed food and whatever. So anyway, the weight was very up and down. So although I had many good weeks, because obviously I lost 37 pounds, but I also had weeks where, genuinely on the proper weighing day, I'd be 2, 3 pounds heavier. Another problem I always had, and again, I do class this as broken thinking. I don't know how to word this. All I had to do for the first 6 months was get as much weight off as I could. That was the goal. That was the plan. But I had to put cheat days in there in order to do it, because my thinking behind it was, well, you've quitting drinking, that's hard enough on its own, and now you're wanting to drop all this weight at the same time. You need some luxury in your life, But the problem is, what I would call a luxury in my life, it would be chocolate, biscuits, crisps, all shit, full of calories, full of crap nutrition. And it was quite frustrating, and I think it's quite sad, and this is just me talking personally. I think it's quite sad when you come to terms with the first half of your life and how bad it's been, and the whole point of you doing all this is to make the second half of your life and become the best person you can be. And yet I was still putting cheat days in there, and it was mega important. Now the problem was, it wasn't a day, it was basically eating what I wanted at the weekend. So basically Monday to Friday, absolutely bang on. So let's just say it was 1,500 calories a day, 2 litres of water per day, exercise every day. And then you get to a Friday and I've worked hard all this week, I've quit drinking, so I get a takeaway. And we all know how many calories is in a big Chinese. And then Saturday I would do the same, and I would still try to exercise, but it wasn't enough. The calories were far higher than the exercise calories I was burning. And then on bad weeks, that would run over to the Sunday for the shit eating. So my point is, I made it very difficult for myself when I didn't need to. But we have got to remember, this was from day one of stopping drinking. The first 6 months of stopping drinking is absolutely horrendous. You're so up and down and your brain is absolutely all over the place. So to be fair, looking back now, dropping 37 pounds in that period was a pretty good effort, I think. And that was it. I got to the back end of 6 months and celebrated being 6 months sober. As I say, celebrated the weight loss, and obviously you feel better. Your face starts getting thinner, your belly's going, your waist is getting smaller. So you're getting into new clothes. You don't have your fat clothes wardrobe that I always had. And 37 pounds, because it's a vast amount of weight, it does make a hell of a lot of difference in your clothes. So, when you put your old t-shirt back on and it's really baggy and not tight around the chest, or you put those favourite pair of jeans on that you never used to be able to fasten the top, or you've got I always go by my belt, when I was always adding extra holes in it the opposite way, which was absolutely ridiculous. So when that starts coming down, you get that snowball effect and you wanted to keep it going. But the point is, the first 1 to 6 months was just sort of a silly diet, really. So I'll leave it there. I think that covers 1 to 6 months. Thanks for watching.